Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are around the world. Aloha and welcome to the top 8 of Pro Tour Dark Ascension 2012 here in the fabulous setting of Honolulu on the Hawaiian Islands. Rich Hagan and Pro Tour historian Brian David Marshall with you. We are away with John Finkler of the United States up against Mr. Matthew Costa, also of the United States. And BDM, we are away. Top speed, onto the table. What's going on?
Delver on John was on the play. He's the higher seed in the tournament. He led off with a Delver. Matthew Costa also led off with a Delver.
And John will send in his 1-1 into an offering of a trade.
Matthew Costa's deck, I think, surprised some people in playtesting. As you know, I think John's group felt that they were, probably something like a 70% favorite. And there's a follow-up Delver from John.
Yep.
Felt they were a 70% favorite in the Delver, matchups like the traditional Delver Blade decks. But in playtesting against Costa, he felt it was, probably under 60%.
Okay.
Said that the deck is very fast and has a lot of troublesome cards. You see an Invisible Stalker. Geist of St. Traff hits very hard, and there's not a lot of ways for John to interact with it.
Sure.
And we see a gut shot for John's second Delver of the match. Visible Stalker, a card that made the shift from limited to constructed in the arms of Charles Gindy.
Holds blades very well. And Sword and War and Peace seems like it has to be somewhat troubling for John's deck. He really looks to buy some time with the Lingering Souls against other aggro decks. Sort of like, all right, I'll attack with 3 guys. I can leave a guy back to to block.
Captain.
So 3 mana.
Captain.
Go ahead.
And there's the second most exciting card from Dark Ascension. Possibly.
No box.
I think your point about Huntmaster is very well made. Be interesting to see how that does through the top 8.
This is Sword of War and Peace.
Protection from red and from white.
Now keep going.
Dragskull Captain? Sure.
So we have 2 3/3 hexproof Dragskull Captains going on here.
Delver. You have 2 cards in hand, or 1 now? 1 card. Sure.
Third Delver of the match for Finkler. Blohon and Nagai busy trying to build a critical mass of mana to get their big plays going.
So attack for
4,
3.
I gain 4.
All right, so you got 15. So you got 19, I got a 15.
Yep.
Take an extra damage for the card in John's hand. Gain 4 for the cards in Matthew Costa's hand. Gain life, I should say.
Phantasmal Image.
Phantasmal Image. So Costa, of course, has Mana Leak mana open. Finkler has...
So does Finkler.
Exactly. But part of the question is, if you're Costa, do you make him pay it anyway?
Well, he has no other cards in hand. That's it. John's...
But there's Moorland Haunt there, I believe.
Oh, is that a Moorland Haunt? Yes, it is.
I think it is. So you take that away as an option. So yeah, Costa goes with the Mana Leak, and John says, yeah, sure, I'll pay.
Yep.
So attack you for 9.
You go to 10.
Go ahead.
Attack you for 9. Pretty brutal. Costa draws. Looks like he has a gold card in hand.
Yeah, I believe he's holding a Geist of St. Traff.
Yep.
Which might not be fast enough here.
Which is startling again. You see how much Magic moves on. I mean, Geist of St. Traff, the idea that your 3-mana gold spell was not going to be a Geist, but was going to be a Dragskull Captain. Extraordinary.
3,
Sure,
I gain 3.
So I got 12, you got 13.
Yep.
12 plays 13.
John is attacking for 12 in the air next turn, and possibly 15 in the air if his Delver flips.
Don't forget, if you're watching us live, you can also get Cover It Live. Make sure you've got that window open.
Wow, look at Matthew Costa's hands. They are, you know, I mean, this has got to be intimidating.
It's prime time, right?
Yeah.
And if you're 19 now,
Sure. Cycle it, basically.
and pays blue to cycle a Gitaxian probe. No cards to see in John's hand.
sure.
Phyrexian Man is getting a little dangerous here.
You know, Costa began his career at the JSS in 2004, and so you're 11 when you come into the game and hear about this mythical creature, John Finkler, who's won everything. And now here you are in the top 8 playing him. Cover It Live has a gigantinormous edge to John Finkler. 92% to 8% is the public
Sure.
vote.
These are all 4/4s.
Yep.
Attack for 12 in the air.
I'm at 1.
Yep.
Sounds like
Good.
Nagai has resolved the Primeval Titan on the back table against Lukas Blohon.
Yeah, and also Black Sun Zenith now going
Ponder.
on there. So
Sure.
Matthew Costa's pondering. Get a look at some of the other matches going on in the area there. Oh, briefly. What does he want to draw here? John is able to make a Moreland Haunt token, block both the Geist.
Yep.
I can tell you we have our first game result. We've got Brian Kibler with a pair of Hunt Master of the Fells, leading Denniz Rachid of Sweden 1-0.
So while hunting a pair of Hunt Master of the Fells on the back table, on the front table, a pair of Droxville captains. So
Okay.
we're doing work here.
Yep.
I think we're going to get a result.
Blohon getting tricky. Birthing pod for Fiend Hunter. Gets rid of Primeval Titan.
So while we have a number of Hall of Famers playing in this match, I know we have some Hall of Famers at home watching us.
All right.
Kai Bude has been following along all week, and I know that. And I just saw a post on Facebook from Ole Rade, and he's got us up on a TV screen in his living room in the post, you know, watching the show. So hello to those guys.
Yeah,
See, you know, you guys could be doing this as well. Come on to Barcelona.
absolutely.
Get in the top 8 party. So attack. Puts an angel token into play.
Spirit.
So make a
John
spirit.
makes a 4/4.
Get away.
A 4/4 spirit, by the way.
Yeah, no.
That cannot be Vapor
I
snagged.
thought Moreland Haunts made 1-1.
Yeah.
Apparently not. It's 1-0 to John Finkler. Got an interesting email from Frank Carsten, one of the true greats of analysis. He just says, given that most Delver decks in the top 8 run 21 instant sorceries, probability of immediately flipping a Delver that was cast on turn 1, given some assumptions, will be round about 37.4%. So there you go. That's roughly how often you're going to see
So
the turn 1
a little more than a third
flip.
of the time.
A little more than a third of the time. So the Magic the Gathering Toolbox, take Magic with you wherever you go with the Magic the Gathering Toolbox. This app features a life counter to track up to 6 players, a card search, deck builder, event calendar, article reader for dailymtg.com, and a store locator. The Toolbox is currently available for iPhones with iPad and Android versions coming soon. It's available now in the iPhone App Store.
While we were away at commercial, we got a result from one of the back tables. Primeval Titan closed out game 1 for Nagai against Lukas Blohon.
Oh, okay. So despite the Fiend Hunter off the birthing pod, insufficient, Nagai takes the opener there. So we're going to bring you one more game from here. We'll give you game 2, see whether Costa can even it up and convince more than 3% of you on Cover It Live that he can do the business against one of the all-time masters. And then I would imagine we might well head off to Paulo Damo Rosa against Jelger Wiergersma. So do not adjust your set. It's on the way.
So, you know, we always talk about, you know, good operations when you're playing Magic.
Yes.
And we talk about the idea, you know, if I cast Gataxian Probe on you, I should write down what I saw in your hand, right? You know, like, because a lot of times you think you can commit that to memory. Paulo is taking that to the next level in his match against Jelger Wiergersma.
Right.
Jelger Gataxian probed him, and while Jelger was writing down what he saw in PV's hand, PV was also writing down what Jelger saw in his hand, so he knows what information Jelger knows.
Yeah, pen and paper systems, sometimes extremely useful. Write it down. We say it every time, but you still then go to a PTQ and watch people probing away, and it's like, all right, so you got Guy, yeah, Titan, and a couple of forests, and then people who play with different basic land, you know?
John, here, John.
Magic present over here.
Talking about. So John likened this top 8 to the Ghost of Magic Past.
Okay.
The Ghost of Magic Future, and then he looked over at Paulo, and he's like, Ghost of Magic Present. Past, present, and future.
Sure. So
Matthew Costa does not look nearly as calm and relaxed as John does, despite, you know, probably having a closer matchup than he might have expected coming in.
Sure, and also let's not forget that we tend not to focus on the money, because the truth is most of the players are not about the money, they're about the win.
Sure.
But underneath all that is the fact that you're looking at a 19-year-old guy who's, you know, in college, heading for college.
Could get himself into a lot of trouble with a $40,000 paycheck.
Hey, come on, if you're 19, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble with $10,000. And that's kind of the starting point for the top 8 here. So, gearing up for game 2 here. 1-0 to Kibler over Rachid right now. 1-0 to Nagai over Blohon. Things not so fast in Paulo against Jelger. I guess maybe that's because they're writing everything down on the Gataxian probe.
There's a lot of bookkeeping.
In this format, I didn't draw first that much. So, some formats I do. My second deck had mulches in it. I hate drawing first when I mulch in my deck.
Yeah, it's just like you always end up having to discard anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know, my first deck was I could have seen drawing first, but it was not.
Paulo played an Inferno Titan in his match.
Format, it's like drawing first can sometimes just be like a huge disadvantage.
Well, it's like, I guess you're like also more likely to have a spell on curve that way to like disrupt it too.
Well, I mean, sure. I mean, you're right to have a spell, but like, you know.
Yeah.
Right, if they go first turn, Rankless Wave, and you drew first, or if they go second turn, I don't know, like Gas Step Howler, you know, and you're like,
sure.
Just giving a pause there in the coverage to let you get a rare glimpse of John Finkel talking about limited strategy with young Matt Costa, another limited expert.
Yeah.
Just let you get a little bit of the sights and sounds of the top 8 feature match arena.
I really like to.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
Interesting that John seems to be putting his opponent at ease.
I was just going to say that's a very nice thing, because there is a card he can play that is nothing to do with the 60 or the 15. That is just about, you know, you're 19. Good luck. But no, he's very, very sporting. Just to finish off about Paulo, has an Inferno Titan. That's bad news for Wiergersma. Doesn't have much going on as a result. A couple of tokens is all that's left for him. So, good operations from Costa as he writes down the result of his Gitaxian probe. You know, we should probably start doing that. When people probe, we should have a little probe bit of paper in the booth.
Sure.
Mind you, I guess we can look at the opponent's hand more often than they can.
Good.
See, a pretty land-heavy hand there for Finkler. Phantasmal Image, Gut Shot, and Snapcaster Mage on the left. Costa will have a turn 2 play. It's Invisible Stalker. Didn't get him there in the first game.
Got a message from another Pro Tour champion, Jerome Remy.
Oh, right.
Jelger Wiergersma's teammate. He says, look, we got a big screen going. We're watching the coverage. We want to see Jelger Wiergersma up on the big screen. So
we'll get there, Urin, I promise you.
All right, I'm just passing on a friendly reminder from a former Pro Tour champion, okay?
Seems perfectly valid.
He was actually a lot more polite about it than I was.
I'm sure. He's from the Netherlands. You're from New York. Or New Amsterdam, as it once was, correct?
Correct.
Ah, there you go. He's
about 400 years ago or so when I started playing Magic.
Limited, yeah.
Costa ponders his ponder.
One of the many reasons to like the naming on that card. Rachid mana leaks Kibler's second Sphere of the Suns, courtesy of Cover It Live. Thank you for that. Turns out if you're watching Cover It Live, you're probably 4 seconds ahead of us in the booth, because we're watching Cover It Live right along with you.
So we've got some super secret Skype information, though.
That is certainly true. And several of that information I did not know, must be honest.
So Costa keeps.
Yep. It's a Seachrome Costa. He's got a mana leak. Dissipate. Looks like he's got another Gitaxian probe there. I think we caught a glimpse of a Geist.
How many cards do you have left now?
Isn't that sounds like a card in a future set. Glimpse of Geist.
Yes.
Puts a 4/4 hexproof spirit token into play.
Really?
No, not really.
That sounds quite powerful.
There's Lingering Souls, and you get to see even though this is going to get.
Good.
So Wiergersma has a ponder going on. Dungeon Geist, Snapcaster Mage, and Mana Leak.
Dungeon Geist is a fine answer to a Titan.
It is indeed. Dungeon Geist, one of the cards that was massively in demand the day before the Pro Tour here in Honolulu. Not like you can pop down to many of your local game stores, although we'll be there at one of the Honolulu game stores tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing some people down there, meeting up with some of the Honolulu community.
So a couple of another Gitaxian probe. Sees a couple of gut shots, Snapcaster Mage, among others.
The answer to the Cover It Live poll, by the way, is Timely Reinforcements. It's a savagely awesome name for a card.
Both players are at 18 here. It's amazing how much damage the Delver deck can do to itself with Gitaxian probes and gut shots.
Oh, sure.
The occasional mutagenic growth.
Yeah, and you say the occasional. Matthew Costa defeated Paulo v. Damo de Rosa live on day 1 in Standard with that singleton mutagenic growth.
Yeah. Got a signed petition to get Jelger on camera right now. Current Wizards of the Coast R&D member and former Pro Tour Top 8 competitor Billy Moreno co-signed the petition to get Jelger Wiergersma on camera.
Is this like the Million Man March? What's going on?
Yep.
The Million Man Mulch.
Oh, fuck it.
Go ahead.
Seriously.
Did you almost curse?
Seriously. All right. So we promise you we will go to Paulo and Jelger at the conclusion of this game. That's where we're going to go next. And they're doing the business for us because it's still 0-0. So it's not like you're going to get the dying rights of that one. Meanwhile, Kibler's been pushed to 7 by Rachid. Kibler finds his 6th land with rampant growth. He's got Inferno tightly in hand, but as Mike Rosenberg says on Cover It Live, can he resolve it? He does get it, but there's a Vapor Snag from Rachid, and that's lethal. Record 1-1 in Kibler Rachid. The Swede evens it up here at his 4th Pro Tour. 7 lifetime pro points going up against a Hall of Famer.
John flips his Delver secrets.
With a probe.
With a Gitaxian probe.
Yes, a Gitaxian, sorry, yeah, indeed. Give it its proper name.
No probing.
Pays blue, does not pay Phyrexian mana. So I would like to see what you are holding.
Vapor Snag. Go away, please.
Probe's good.
Go for it, guys.
So. Lots of mana from Nagai and Blohon. Nagai's first use of that lots of mana is a Primeval Titan.
For lots more mana.
Yeah.
Snapcaster Mage.
John has seen the mana leak in Matthew Costa's hand, and he says, you know, do you want to use it? Can I draw some more cards? And Matthew Costa says no, which means John's Delver secrets will resolve again.
Delver?
Sure.
Darkslick Shores?
Yep.
Go ahead.
In goes the Invisible Stalker. There's been plenty of chat here between John Finkler and Matthew Costa, but pretty much nothing between Jelger and Paulo. Just two pros who know what they're doing, says Sheldon Memory.
No table talk, huh?
Nope, just business.
So, Moreland Hall lands for Matthew Costa. John checks the graveyard. I couldn't get a look at how many creatures were or weren't there, but I don't think we've seen anything go by yet.
No.
Okay.
So Finkel has a look and draws an island. It's got double gut shot. Phantasmal Image. Dungeon Geists and an island. So we have 1-0. Paulo Vitor Damo Rosa leads over Jelger Wiergersma. Kessig Wolfrun gets the job done ultimately.
Over here we get our first look at Dungeon Geists in play.
Okay.
Taps the Delver Secrets.
So
that will not untap as long as the Dungeon Geist is there.
That's right.
Hold. In response to your trigger.
Oh, response to trigger, gut shot.
No. It just tapped it because it could.
Yep.
So it sounds like we've got, you know, people at home, just Pro Tour champions at home. Mm-hmm. Jeffrey Cerrone has signed the petition.
You know they're people too. I noticed the way you started with people and then won't call it Pro Tour champions.
Well,
these are different subsets of humanity.
Specifically speaking to this Pro Tour champion petition that seems to be forming online to get Jelger Wiergersma and Paulo Vitor Damo Rosa on camera. So we've actually been working, and I believe we're going to go to game 2 as soon as this game is concluded.
Strange but true. You're just going to be silent after this, I know.
Sorry.
Jeffrey Cerrone, Belgian Pro Tour champion, How many Grand Prix winners are there from Belgium in the 400 or so Grand Prix there have ever been? Are you ready? It's none.
Interesting.
They're one of the countries that have a Pro Tour winner but have never won a GP. Like any number of top 8s.
2 guards.
Bizarre.
Yep.
But yeah, I believe they refer to that as a statistical anomaly. At least that's how I refer to it.
Try to go, captain.
So now we see the captain. Which means that's a 4-4 Dungeon Geist.
28 Grand Prix top 8s for Belgium without a win. Captain,
Phantasmal
Dungeon Geist, Delver,
Correspond.
now Phantasmal Image.
John offers up the sort of soft, locky phantasmal image.
Uh-huh.
I believe we're going to see a Snapcaster Mage here.
We are.
Caster Mage.
I watched a little bit of Matthew Costa off camera through the weekend, and I am impressed that he's pretty much able to play at the same pace as he did in the Swiss when no one's watching. You sometimes get yourself either into this dreadful rut of never being able to do anything or going super quick, and he's doing fine.
So sounds like Lukas Blohon has tied up his match against Nagai by, going the hard way on Elishnorn. Actually just paying the 7 mana, not ramping it up with Birthing Pod, just casting it.
And
he had a lot of mana guys that helped him get there, and then those guys returned the favor by all attacking for 2.
And he has just one. Just one Elish Norn sitting there.
That's 5.
So Gutshot takes the Snapcaster Mage out of the way
You get 10 damage
and
to
clears the
like
way for
cancel.
Delver of Secrets to get in for an extra point of damage.
Let's see. I paid 2 for probe.
You need another probe.
Yeah, I think I probed twice.
Alright. Looks like we're both bad at this. Go ahead.
Yeah, worth remembering that the Rachid Kibler match was in the Swiss, and Kibler won pretty handily 2-0. So Rachid is already doing better this time around at 1-1 in the best of 5.
So sort of War and Peace off the top for Matthew Costa. We see a mana leak, flip the Delver of Secrets.
How big a deal is it for the opponent to know what's come as a result of the flip?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Sometimes it's demoralizing. Depends on the depends on the flip.
Yeah.
Attack for 4,
Go ahead.
7,
9.
9.
Yeah. So Costa knows with his 5 land that he has a maximum casting cost of 2 currently, if he doesn't want to be mana leaked.
So John will take an extra point of damage here if he attacks. Should I think he just has to. Oh no, he could. Yeah.
All right, no blocks.
All right, no blocks, says Finkler.
Costa goes to 4.
You gain 2, you go to
4.
4.
But that's 6 in the air.
Kibler game 3 has got to Titan land, and Rachid only 3 land. So it's a pretty good bet that Kibler's going to be 1 up with 2 to play in that one. You see them there in the background, behind a deep in thought Matthew Costa. He's holding Geist of St. Traft and Mana Leak.
And neither of these cards can help him. Does he have?
Just passes the turn.
John
Finkle with his Mana Leak plus something else. The
Jog Skull
something
Captain.
else is a Jog Skull Captain. And of course, Costa knows that those 2 mana that are left for John is Mana Leak. So yes, smash. Have a quick look in my graveyard. Nope, all done. And John Finkle leads.
Jog Skull Captain has just looked fantastic in the 2 games that we've watched.
Been pretty good, hasn't it? So he leads 2-0.
There you go. Look at Jelger Wiergersma waiting to get underway.
And you're going to get another look at him very, very
All right,
soon.
Jeffrey Cerrone, Yaron Remy, Billy Moreno,
up two.
and so on.
Down one.
Hang out. We got it coming your way. We're gonna go right to game 2.
There's Incipio for you. The Magic Feather Case by Incipio lets your imagination flow. Keep your iPhone 4 4S protected from chaos while showcasing the game's awesome fantasy art featuring Magic's most popular planeswalkers. For more information, visit www.wizards.com/Magic Merchandise.
Who is the 2? Who is 2?
So there you have the top-down view of 2 greats of the game. On the left, it is Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa of Brazil in his Channel Fireball Brazil shirt, and on the right, kicking off with a Ponder from the Netherlands with Spirits, the same deck from the powerhouse, Jelger Wiergersma.
Almost the same deck.
Oh, okay.
Jelger missed the sideboard meeting. It was a sideboard meeting the morning of the Pro Tour, I guess. He was not there for that.
Okay.
And if you look at the decks, I guess there's a couple of minor differences.
Discrepancies,
Yes.
one might say. See, there's a Wiergersma list for you.
Yeah. So John has
Delver.
Demystify, for example. There's I don't believe there's any ratchet bombs in John's sideboard.
Okay.
Yeah, slightly different configuration.
Yep. Turn
There's a rampant
2
growth in the
Delver.
Brazilian.
Yeah, turn 2 Delver from Wiergersma, obviously the turn later than you'd want.
Sure, but he
I mean-
he did ponder the turn before.
Oh, it's
so,
not like he did nothing.
Well, but he also maybe sets his draw up so that he goes, he sets it up so it's like, all right, I'm going to draw the Delver now, I'll leave a land on top,
Yeah.
and then I'll play that, and then I'll flip my, and that's exactly how it plays out. He ponders into
Draw.
what I assume was a Gataxian probe.
I'll probe you.
Yeah, it was. Probes him, he sees a Whip Flare, a Primeval Titan,
Huntmaster
of the Fells, and 2 more lands.
One of which, I believe, is that Kessig Wolfrun?
I think it's an Inkmoth.
Yeah.
Nexus.
I'll draw a card.
Reminder that it's 1-0 to Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa here in this one. In the best of 5, not best of 3. It's best of 3 in the Swiss. Top 8, we give them the full 5. Give them the maximum chance to make the right plays, or even the wrong ones occasionally. You see Gataxian Probe, Snapcaster Mage, Mutagenic Growth in Jelger Wiergersma's hand. And we know all about Paulo right now.
Snapcaster.
Yep.
Ponder.
So we just see Snapcaster come down. Now, there is a Whip Flare in Paulo's hand.
So there's a chance for some old-fashioned card advantage. The board sweeper.
Go.
So there we see the Huntmaster of the Fells. Paulo gains 2 life, gains a Wolf Friend.
Be interesting to know how often, against a Huntmaster, the Wiergersma deck won't have a play and won't have a choice but to see the Huntmaster flip, because you can be left with reactive spells.
Sure, but I mean, again, you have things like Lingering Souls on your turn. You don't have a ton of. I guess you don't have a ton of instants.
Sure.
So if Paulo wants to pass a turn and let it happen.
Yeah. Yes, because Souls, of course, is sorcery speed.
See the face of Jelger Wiergersma as he figures out his line of play.
And in the background, Lukas Blohon, who is at 1-1 with Nagai. Sounds like Nagai's edging ahead, though, in the third game.
We see a Lingering Souls. The Wolf token traded with the Snapcaster Mage. In case you're wondering where Tiago went, he had to go sign the petition.
So it's the old pro player cards Jelger's using there as tokens. Who is that sideways? In what looks like a red cape on my monitor?
That is Gerard Fabiano.
In a red cape? It's hard to
I believe
tell.
it's a red hoodie.
Oh, okay.
You might call them capes in England. You guys have weird words for things.
Placard. So there we are. Over transforms. Ravager of the Fells will attempt to take out an insectile aberration, and Jelger is ready with Phyrexian mana.
And the mutagenic growth.
For the mutagenic growth. Again. That's been a tremendous card this weekend. I've already mentioned Matthew Costa using it. Now, I said that looked like Nagai might be edging his way ahead. Good news for Czech fans. Blohon has Wormcoil Engine down in that one. That's a bit of a spell.
Get a look at the Ravager of the Fells. That's the back end of the double-faced card.
Yep.
The business end, if you will.
2 to you, 2/2, up to 1 guy. So you don't have to have a creature to target. We'll see the probe, and we're going to see some action. There's a Galvanic Blast.
Whip Flare.
Primeval Titan.
And a Thrun.
The Last Troll. Okay, finally, a Cover It Live comment. So delicious, I have to read it out on air. Comment from Paulo. One request for the next coverage. Include Fortress 2 microchip implants on all players so we can literally see through their eyes. Thanks for that one, Paulo. We'll do our best. Don't hold your breath for Barcelona.
We just give them those Spy Store eyeglasses with the little cams coming out of the the arms.
I can tell you that the words heart rate monitor were uttered in a meeting once by me. Watch this space.
Okay. Hear the voice of Brian Kibler in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Galvanic Blast takes down the insectile aberration, swats it, if you will. And Dungeon Geist taps the Ravager.
Flips back, right? Oh, yeah.
That's the second spell of the turn, flips it.
I can tell you that in Finkler against Costa, Matthew Costa, with a couple of land in play, has kicked off with double insectile aberration. So he's gone Delver, Delver, flip, transform, and is now piling in for 6 damage against John Finkle. He's also cast Gitaxian Probe. So Costa's off to a great start in Game 3, trying to break his duck and force one of the all-time greats to a Game 4.
It sounds like Nagai followed up that, came back against that Wormcoil Engine with an Ancient Grudge and followed it up with a Primeval Titan and is holding his ground in that game.
That sounded like a really good one.
Flashback.
Kibler and Rachid getting ready to start Game 4.
Jelger flashes back Lingering Souls.
He doesn't untap.
Jelger reminds him that the Huntmaster Grandmaster is stuck in the horizontal position.
Mm-hmm.
Two cars? Yeah.
First of the match. The first mulligan of the match. Maybe it should have been the third. But I was gonna say. But I mean, as I said, I gotta take some risks in this matchup.
It's the laugh of a happy Brian Kibler.
Yeah, again, someone else who's very happy to put you at your ease at the table.
And that's not always an aid to your opponent.
No.
That can be as much a weapon. So one of the Lingering Souls token takes on Thrun and fails miserably.
Quite a lot of things take on Thrun and fail miserably, historically speaking. Reminder that Brian Kibler is up 2-1 over Denniz Rachid of Sweden.
I said he sounded very happy.
Yeah. Not as happy as he'll sound at 3-1. Blohon and Nagai 1-1. Finkler 2-0 up against Costa, but Costa doing sterling work on the front table. And in fact, it looks to me like Matthew Costa has taken game 3, the double flip delver. It's 2-1. Well done, Matthew Costa, getting off the duck egg and forcing a game 4 in that one. If we get to 5, you'll see it, we guarantee. So a little more work to do for Matthew Costa before we get more face time for that one. But
Understand.
So it sounds like they're just haymaking back and forth over on the Blohon match. He went Oblivion Ring for the Primeval Titan, but then Nagai just came back over the top with another Primeval Titan. Jelger activated his Moorland Haunt at the end of the turn, made a token.
we know despite certain language issues, we've got a lot of Japanese viewers. You will get to see, all being well, Mamoru Nagai against Lukas Blohon, Czech Republic. So all our Czech fans, you'll get some camera time at the end of this game. So we're going to stick through to the end of this game with Paulo, Vitor, Damo, Rosa currently 1 up over Jelger Wiergersma, and at the end of their game 2, we will head across town to Lukas Blohon of the Czech Republic against Mamoru Nagai, by which time they should be heading towards game 4. They're still battling away to see who has the edge after 3.
So, Galvanic Blast on the Dungeon Geist, but
met with counter magic.
Dissipate.
Hard counter. None of your pay 3 extra if you feel like it. Just no.
A fine card against a ramp deck, which has tons of extra mana.
Sure. Yes, and that was one of the dynamics we saw play out through the 2 days of Standard, where just how long Mana Leak was a viable counterspell against assorted decks. So, Paulo piling in.
He's at 7. And looking at, I mean, he has a Whip Flare, but he's looking at lethal next turn if he doesn't do something.
Someone asks whether Sweden have ever had a Pro Tour winner before. Oh yes, my friend, they have. 3 of them. Ole Rada, Columbus, 1996. Matthias Jorstedt, Yokohama, 2003. And in the same year, Rickard Osterberg won New Orleans.
Poor Rickard Osterberg. He had such an amazing season that year, 2004.
That rings a bell, 2004. Wait, You mean Nikolai Herzog 2004?
And Gabriel Nassif 2004.
And Jelger Wiergersma 2004.
Yeah.
Von Dutch.
And he got kind of lost in the shuffle despite, multiple top 8s that season and a win.
Yeah.
It was such a long, grueling season. It was when they were doing the changeover on the Pro Tour schedule.
I'll take it.
So it was like 7 Pro Tours that year or something like that.
Sure.
And multiple players in that Player of the Year race actually retired after that year. I think it was just so grueling. There's a Slag Storm.
Leak.
Manalik says no to Slagstorm. Now here's Whip Flare.
Which takes down everything but the Dungeon Geist. We get a transformed Huntmaster, gain 2 life, gain a token. Jelger draws for his turn. He attacks Paulo down to 6.
Go.
And he delvers, he can go to 2 here.
Kibler clearing the way against Rachid.
Slagstorm.
Oh, another Slagstorm from Paulo.
Slagstorm U for 3.
And that's enough to give Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa a 2-0 lead over Jelger Wiergersma.
There you get a look at Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa. Up 2 games to 0 in this match against Hall of Famer Jelger Wiergersma. Players adjust. Often they'll be adjusting their sideboards based on whether they're on the play or the draw. Sounds like Brian Kibler on the back table has deployed.
So there's Red Monkey. Hold that thought. It makes unique hand-built leather accessories embodying the spirit of rock and roll. Red Monkey leather goods are designed to break in and get even better with age. Now for Magic, they're making a range of bags, belts, and cuffs featuring the mana symbol and Planeswalkers. For more information, visit www.wizards.com/magic merchandise.
I'll play first.
Still not used to the commercial breaks. I apologize.
The bags are still gorgeous.
Yeah. It really tells you something about before we just go to the top American graphic. Nagai is now up 2-1.
Okay.
Blohon dealt with every creature he threw at him, but those Primeval Titans had fetched up Kessig Wolfrun, and they had fetched up Inkmoth Nexus, and Nagai was able to just finish him off with poison damage.
Yeah, so that's where we're heading next. Nagai against Blohon for their game 4. There you see the top 10 Americans. Of course, those 3rd, 6th, and 7th, they're provisional standings because they can alter over the course of the day. But some really terrific finishes further down, and a couple of players I want to talk about specifically with you, Brian. We've already mentioned Todd Anderson, but I bumped into Sam Black, and the number of people who said to me, Sam Black really had his finger on the pulse of this format. And Sam Black began this weekend at 0-3. And I said, where did it come from? Because he sometimes has slow starts. And he said, I knew I had an amazing deck. We put 5 copies of the deck in the top 25, which is awesome.
So, you have a mistake on that slide.
Oh, okay.
It says Brian Kibler 7th. That is not going to be correct. He has just defeated Denniz Rachid.
Oh, okay.
And he is our first semi-finalist of Pro Tour Dark Ascension.
And he will face the winner of Matthew Costa and John Finkler. So you could have a Brian Kibler, John Finkler semi-final.
I'm sorry, I'm snorting.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be devastating. I'll tell you what, though, I think Costa's, he's in there fighting. We'll get another look. By the way, we're now into shuffling up for game 4. There you see Lukas Blohon on your right of screen.
There you get a look at Czech Republican. Is that the way you...
I think the is unnecessary. And there's Mamoru Nagai, won a PTQ in Japan. I believe it's 7 lifetime pro points.
Tokyo-based Magic player who Shuhei Nakamura had a lot of time for.
Yep.
He thought, he regarded him very, very highly, thought, you know, he could do some exciting things at this event.
And Shuhei is very invested in the future of Japanese Magic. He's one of the great headliners, and of course he's a Hall of Famer who is active right now. There are some great players who aren't around on, if you like, the day-to-day. And he wrote a very heartfelt article a few weeks ago, I think it might have been Channel Fireball, I think it is, where he talked about the state of Japanese Magic, the importance of interaction, the importance of teamwork, the community building, bringing players to the Pro Tour and taking them under his wing, and other experienced players. Right. A very interesting article, well worth looking at there. So here, 2-1 to Nagai is the score. So Blohon with his birthing pod deck has some fancy schmancy footwork to do, which is the kind of thing that birthing pods decks do. I had the great privilege of going to Brazilian Nationals last year and saw Marcus Camargo as the podcaster there. He won Brazilian Nationals with a very tricksy birthing pod deck back at the end of last summer.
Hello.
So Nagai and
if you look at this deck, though, he doesn't do the things that you expect a birthing pod deck to do. It's a much more straightforward deck. It's almost like a green-white mid-range deck that has this robust engine built into it to keep things going with birthing pod. Lukas is sending his hand back. The guy still pondering his own hand. Can we take a look at some of the other Japanese players and how they did at this event?
Yep. We can bring you the top 8 Japanese players here. Oh, in fact, let's go to the Europeans. Okay, now there are some seriously good players on that list, and very interesting. You notice Czech Republic and Slovak Republic hugely represented, plus 2 Swedes. Kenny Oberg, fair play to him. He was on 33 points coming into the last round. Almost everyone on 33 points drew intentionally, because that gets you in the top 25. That locks in Pro Tour invitation for Barcelona. Oberg played and leapt up the standings from 30-something to 11th by playing and winning his last round. Jurkovic, you see, 10. Jaklovsky, he is such a good player. Lukas Jaklovsky, top 8 of Worlds 2010 in Chiba, part of the team in 2009 at Rome that finished, I think it was 3rd at that event, behind China, of course, beating the Austrians in the final. Terrific player. And then again, Matej Van Tuk, he was the guy who, because of his draw earlier in the event, was doing the fun and frolics of getting to 34, 37, and he just missed out. But a good collection of Europeans.
But I got to tell you, the European player everyone was talking about this weekend was actually Samuela Estradi.
Oh, for sure.
So we're underway here. We got a pair of birds from the Czech Republic player. So he has access to 5 mana on turn 3, which he uses to deploy a Hero of Blade Hold.
Quick update from Finkler against Costa. Finkler casting Lingering Souls. On the other side of the table is a Geist of St. Traft for Matthew Costa. There is one other token lurking around for John Finkler. That looks like it might well be a Moorland Haunt token, and he's now adding to his board with Delver of Secrets, or attempting to. Costa has Mana Leak open and available, and Finkler cannot pay, so it wouldn't surprise me if Costa takes the Mana Leak.
Mamoru Nagai goes for the throat on the Hero of Blade Hold, and Lukas is down to a pair of birds, 3 lands, but makes a Strangleroot Geist and attacks for 2. And then a Blade Splicer post-combat, and brief appearance. What wouldn't be a top 8 without Luis Scott Vargas? So he gets to show up anyway.
He had a very difficult day 1. He was 0-3, 1-3, 1-4, done.
Right.
But that happens when there are 446 players and only a third of the field makes day 2.
Doesn't happen to him very often. I mean, if you
No.
that might be the first time he's missed day 2 in years. See a grip full of black cards for Nagai. Looks like a Grave Titan. I'm not sure what the promo is. The Black Sun Zenith for 1.
That sends things flying, but we see Strangleroot Geist coming back, Undying, doing its thing. Couple more Lingering Souls tokens for John Finkle, who's trying to seal out Matthew Costa. Finkle trying to go for another Delver. And then he's going to attack into Costa, who only has Geist of St. Traft.
Lucas attacks for 5.
Helpful news from Cover It Live. The promo in the guy's hand is a Doomblade.
Oh, very good.
Says Alexandra93.
Thank you.
Of course, he may just be winding us up, but that's what he says.
And there is Birthing Pod.
So hopefully we're going to get a chance to see what that does for Blohon in
Well,
on-camera action.
he can turn his Strangleroot Geist into a Fiend Hunter. He also has Huntmaster of the Fells in his deck at 4, obviously. I can go get another Blade Splicer if he'd like. Looks like a Kessig Wolf Run.
And it's going to be scent packing. Go away. Green Sun Zenith.
That was an Ancient Grudge.
For a Birds of Paradise.
Those Ancient Grudges are pretty brutal when your deck's built really around one kind of artifact that you really, really want to keep on the board for multiple turns.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that several people talked about, how some of the, if you want tier 2 decks, that the name of the deck was kind of core to what the deck was, and if you didn't have the card that it was kind of bad news. Like the Heartless Summoning decks really wanted Heartless Summoning, and the Birthing
Otherwise,
pod,
they're just summoning decks, and
which is pretty ordinary.
yeah, everyone can do that.
Sealed deck. That's often a summoning deck.
Flashback.
Grave Titan.
He's
We see
flashes
there.
back
Ancient Grudge. Gets flashback.
to take out the Golem token.
It's got a Sphere of the Suns, but we're going to see big, badass 6/6 plus chums action. And Nagai, remember, is 2-1 up. So all of a sudden, the very good Strangleroot Geist is bad news. Blohon has passed the turn.
Grave Titan's a card we've seen just time and time again, kind of quiet, like the quiet Titan.
In again, 2 more. Oh. Sorry to Blohon fans, but this is looking extremely like the end.
And another Grave Titan for Nagai. Blohon extends the hand. We have our second semifinalist, Mamoru Nagai from Japan, and he will be waiting for the winner of Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa and Jelger Wiergersma. So he'll either be playing against Wolf Run Ramp, sort of a more red-green 2-color version, or playing against the powerhouse Delver deck played by Jelger Wiergersma. But Jelger's got a bit of an uphill climb ahead of him if he wants to get to the semifinals to face Nagai. He is in an 0-2 hole.
So we're going to take a look at the top Japanese players while we head back across town to Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa against Jelger. Meanwhile, on the other table, I can tell you that Brian David Marshall's keeping an eye on John Finkler trying to close out against Matthew Costa. But there's the top 8 Japanese players. Not so many Japanese players, of course, playing in the event. And some great names there. Chikara Nakajima down in the top 64. Toshiyuki Kadaoka in, again, top 64. Yusuke Iwasaki. Daniel Fan made it into the top 32. Congratulations to him. Ryuichi Tamada, 31st. And then Shuhei. Very quiet weekend for him, and yet that's what Hall of Famers do. They have a very quiet weekend. They finished 20th. And for a long time, it looked like Shota Yasuoka was going to dominate this event yet again, as you would expect, with a Tezzeret deck in standard. But he fell short in the last couple of rounds. It was Estrati, I believe, who beat him in the penultimate round. There you see Mamoru Nagai, who is the last Japanese player standing, and he will finish at least 4th here at Pro Tour Dark Ascension 2012. BDM, what's happening in Costa?
Well,
Finkle.
John was under pressure from a Geist of Sintraft, but he, took his beats from the Angel token, but put a bunch of spirits in the way of the Geist, made a trade there, put an end to that. He now has a flipped Insectile Aberration and a Spirit token, and he is attacking Matthew Costa, who is playing a Snapcaster Mage, which I assume is going to try to flash back a Dismember?
Meanwhile,
a Vapor Snag.
We are here with a Phantasmal Image copying what I can only imagine is a Drogskull Captain from Jelger Wiergersma. Paulo has all the mana in the world. Looks like he's, there you see the top-down view. It is indeed Drogskull Captain, then Phantasmal Image to copy it. And on the other side, Paulo has Thrun the Last Troll. We'll try and get you a life totals update on this one as soon as we can.
10,
10-12
12.
sounds like I'm hearing in my headphones. Whether that's this match, I'm not sure, but we'll, as I say, we'll get you that confirmed and up on screen as quickly as we can.
So John has played Phantasmal Image to copy Matthew Costa Snapcaster Mage, using it to return a Ponder, and now he is pondering. He still has a Delver of Secrets in hand, which was returned with Vapor Snag, so he's able to set that up so it'll transform next turn.
Paulo, meanwhile, has Kessig Wolfrun, and he is now casting a Primeval Titan. He has Inkmoth Nexus, a ton of mana. He's just laid Kessig Wolfrun, and now here's Primeval Titan. Jelger has Mana Leak mana up. Paulo has 3 mana to pay for it. There is Mana Leak. Pay for it. That resolves. Just to fill you in, Crypt Wrap, Matthew Costa, not part of Team Channel Fireball, just, wearing the outfit because it's one of the, one of those cool things to wear sometimes. No, Costa is not. Blohon was part of Team Channel Fireball, just to confirm for you.
I doubt it.
And Jelger says, yeah, I doubt I'm going to come back into this one. It looks like we're very close to the end of this one. But I tell you what, we could be getting to Game 5 in Costa Finkle. It's getting very tense over there, Brian David Marshall.
John found a Lingering Souls and made 4 spirits. And Matthew Costa's doing what he can. He's deployed an Invisible Stalker and his own Delver of Secrets.
And Snapcaster.
Well, the Snapcaster's in play. That led that Phantasmal Image to ponder into that Lingering Souls.
Okay. Meanwhile, here you see Jelger Wiergersma on the right of screen with his Drogskull Captain and Phantasmal Image copying the same. He's got 3 cards in hand to work with. It's 10 plays 8 now. Jelger is at 8, Paulo at 10. Looks like there's a Lingering Souls in Wiergersma's hand. Lingering Souls, another Drogskull Captain, and probably a Mana Leak. And just getting a quick look there. Paulo, Primeval Titan, Thrun the Last Troll, multiple Nexuses, probably not the technical term, and critically, Kessig Wolfrun. Wiergersma at 8 in this one. Paulo at 10. So Wiergersma can make what amounts to a 3rd Drogskull Captain.
Yep. 10, 8.
Believe.
10, Jelger.
Paulos
I think I'm dead.
tapped out. Jelger says, I think I'm dead.
Doing our analysis for us there, Jelger Wiergersma.
Yeah. I always like it when players do that. So Jelger looking at the numbers. BDM, Paulo's at 10.
I'm
sorry,
I'm not paying attention.
You're
at
in
this
a different
moment.
match.
I'm
Okay,
watching-
that's fine. No,
I'm
I just had a... It just seemed to me that he has double Drug Skull Captain. He has the potential to make a third. I'm just trying to do the math on what happens if he does that. Well, Lingering Souls, make 2 guys.
Yep.
We're dividing ourselves in 2 to try and bring you live on multiple streams. So he's flashed it back, Wiergersma, 4 Lingering Souls tokens, which of course, they're spirits, they're bigger because of Drug Skull Captain. He's fighting so hard. Is it all going to be Kessig Wolfrun? It was Kessig Wolfrun in game 1 that gave it to Paulo. 11 mana on the table for Paulo Vitor, Damo de Rosa. Arranging his lands as he does.
John Finkle is our 3rd semifinalist.
He's done it.
He just defeated
Wow.
Matthew Costa. He Snapcaster Mage into Ponder, pondered into Lingering Souls, untapped, played another Snapcaster Mage, pondered, shuffled, Drug Skull Captain off the top, Mana Leak from Matthew Costa, Mana Leak back from John Finkle, and Matthew Costa extended the hand. John Finkle is through to your semifinals, where he will play against Brian Kibler. A showdown of Hall of Famers, people who both played at Pro Tour 1 in the junior division. It's going to be unbelievable magic in the semifinals.
If you're in Europe and you're thinking of going to bed this Sunday night, pack it in. You stay right there. It's going to be an amazing afternoon. Meanwhile, who will the last semi-finalist be? Will it be Jelger Wiergersma, the 2004 Pro Tour Seattle team winner, with Jeroen Remy and Camille Cornelissen, 2 of the finest players the Netherlands has ever produced. And that's saying quite something, because they are stacked with Hall of Famers, that fabulous nation. Meanwhile, could it be Paulo Vitor, Damo de Rosa of Brazil? Are we moments away? Paulo picks up his team, ready to pile in.
So Jelger showing him 15 points of toughness there.
Okay. Does Paulo have 23 damage? Ready to rock and roll? Go and get another Nexus. Go and get a backup Wolf Run.
So he puts 9 in front of the...
Double block Thron and triple block the Titan.
Double block Thron, triple block the Titan. Hopefully you're hearing Jelger in your surround sound home cinema as we are in our headphones.
Sure.
Remember, killing that Phantasmal Image will have an additional effect on all the tokens that are involved in combat, because they'll all lose a +1/+1 bonus. Should it come to that.
Good man Gary on Cover It Live in the UK, staying up late for this. Good man.
Okay.
I tell you what, St. JW, just for you, this is a one-time only offer. Yes, I will buy you a coffee when you get to work tomorrow.
Regenerates Thron the last troll. Pumps his Primeval Titan to make sure that all those tokens die. And Jelger is left with just a Drog Skull Captain.
It's got to be moments away, hasn't it? Really.
You take 1 trample, right?
Don't think so. 2/3/3 is blocking your 6/4.
But I kill the 3/3 first. So it becomes a 2/2, doesn't it?
I don't think
No.
that's how it works.
I don't think that's how it works either, Paulo.
So say he blocks with Diz and a Spirit,
So we're just checking.
and I have 6 power.
Okay.
I'm gonna do 3 here.
Yes.
Do I have to deal 3 here or 2?
All the
And 1
damage
to
is
him?
dealt
Have to
simultaneously.
deal whatever his toughness is.
But if this dies first,
I
then
think
this
you're
Yeah,
saying
becomes
but,
that
Yeah,
but at the time you assign the damage,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
3. Yeah.
Huh.
Yes, there's no half damage resolving step in Magic kind of thing. I think that's how that kind of resolves itself. Wiergersma with 3 cards in hand. Paulo with a Titan and a Whip Flare by the looks of things.
Okay. Jelger ponders his next move. We see a Captain, a Snapcaster Mage, and a Mana Leak.
Which was something he pondered earlier in this match, exactly those 3 cards.
Yep.
Plays the Captain and attacks.
Sure.
But Paulo's got Ink Moth to get in the way. Sure, says Jelger. He's looking through his graveyard. What does Snapcaster get him back? Passes the turn. Paulo still threatening with Thrun. But he's got to be careful, because we know those captains can come from nowhere. There's Snapcaster. Sure, says Paulo. I'll tell you what, I'll have a look at your graveyard to discover what you're going to do.
I'll block.
Block.
Okay, I will pump my guy infinite numbers of damage.
Well, not, yeah, I mean, not quite infinite. He's going +5. There it is. Paulo Vitor, Damo de Rosa of Brazil, 3-0 over Jelger Wiergersma. You asked for it, Netherlands Hall of Famers and Pro Tour winners. You said, let's see Wiergersma. You got him, but I'm afraid you didn't have a tremendous result for that one.
So that played out pretty much the way I expected there in the quarterfinals. I think I called De Rosa over Wiergersma, called Nagai over Blohon.
Hello.
Hello.
Look at that. We get Jelger
Costa.
Wiergersma sort of in the booth with us. Kind of.
The ghost of Jelger Wiergersma.
The Geist.
The Geist, yes. And Finkler and Kibler over Rachid. So that's played out pretty much. We're going to have John Finkle playing Brian Kibler. Don't tell anyone this, because we might wake up.
Yeah.
Brian Kibler playing John Finkle in the semifinals of the Pro Tour Dark Ascension. This is just unbelievable. And, oh, by the way, Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa is, barreling through the other bracket, looking to play the winner of that match in the finals.
So, I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone who's watching, not only in terms of being here with us today, but so many people have sort of emailed and Twittered and Facebooked and said, I stayed up till 7 o'clock in the morning on Friday. I stayed up till 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday into Sunday. I'm going to do it all again today. And you're doing it in your thousands and thousands and thousands, and we cannot thank you enough for being with us.
I got a great email last night.
Right.
From a gentleman who remembers being 13 years old in the year 2000.
Okay.
Watching John Finkle win Worlds in Belgium on a tiny little 5-inch by 5-inch live stream.
Wow.
From the event.
Because that's about as much bandwidth as you could pipe down
He said
the
I
world.
had to use my family's computer was in the living room. My parents were sleeping on the couch behind me. And so he's been watching John Finkle win Pro Tours, he said, for more than half his life.
Yeah. Well, he's got a bit of a roadblock in the way. Let's see if we can take a look at how the semi-finals match up and what we've already seen so far. So you're going to get, in the Armstrong Stadium court, John Finkle against Brian Kibler. And then you've got the underdog, Mamoru Nagai, against Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa of Brazil. Wiergersma gone, Blohon gone, Costa gone, but carried out on his shield with profound honor. Well done, Matthew Costa.
Best
and
top 4 of
Rachid
all
gone.
time?
Houston 2001 was pretty special, wasn't it? To be fair.
We'll do a little math over lunch.
Some lunch, a sandwich, and some research. All right.
By the way, while we're on lunch break, which is what you're about to say, we're gonna give you a look at John Finkle's Drogtool Captain Delver deck that was designed by Sam Black and everyone at the Powerhouse.
Yeah, so you've got the Finkle deck tech, tons of other great stuff that we've been putting together over the weekend. But we've got about an hour, okay, while we have lunch. So we're going to come back with the semi-finals Paulo Damo de Rosa against Mamoru Nagai, and John Finkler against Brian Kibler. Guess who's going to start off on camera? I can't even begin.
I can't wait to see how Nagai plays this.
That's right. So, until we meet after lunch here, or tea, or supper, or midnight feast, wherever you are around the world.
Don't nap. Don't nap. Trust me. Don't nap.
Napping's
That
bad.
is a mistake.
It really is. Until we meet 1 hour from now for the semi-finals of Pro Tour Dark Ascension, for Brian David Marshall, I'm your host, Rich Hagan, saying bye.